Let's stay with international matters because the elephant in the room, if you like, is Brexit, isn't it? And there's going to be an awful lot, I would imagine, of legislation that's going to be needed to be passed during the next year.
Well, that would be the case. And the Chief Minister and his team and his officers are particularly heavily engaged in that area. I think the key thing for me, the Treasury and the broader economy is the confidence with which we tackle the opportunities that Brexit will bring. As a key trading partner of the UK's and indeed, our biggest supplier of both inward and outward business, we need to, I think, use the expertise that we already have in the international markets to help the UK expand its borders. There will definitely be a focus on developing new international sectors. I think there are a number of significant opportunities for the island to play a hugely responsible role in that. So I actually, whilst we all wait to see what will be the final outcome, I'm confident that Brexit will present opportunities for the Isle of Man from an economic perspective, certainly. And we must look forward positively to those outcomes and work as nimbly and effectively as possible to ensure that we are in a position to make the most of perhaps a change in focus to the way both Britain and the world generally views international trade and the complications that come with that.
There's been an awful lot of commentary that a no deal would be the worst result possible, and that could have big risks associated with it. That surely then would hit the Isle of Man as well.
I think there's always that risk that there will be negative impact in certain sectors, and that's well documented, and we need to be prepared for that. But what we do need to do, Tim, I think it's important that we plan for success rather than for failure. And that will be the focus of the Treasury's planning now as we enter into our next phase of budget planning for next February.
We're 6 months away, aren't we? So,
well,
all options are open, aren't they?
Things can change, obviously. But as it stands at the moment, I think we need to be confident that Brexit will present us with as many opportunities as an island as it will potentially have any negative impact.
With all this uncertainty, though, at the moment, and I know the planning of a budget is not just a few months in advance of the budget in February, it's an ongoing yearly basis. How can you plan for a budget in February when we don't know what's going to happen in March?
Well, you plan with optimism, Tim, is the bottom line. I mean, I've already discussed this with the senior team about what sort of approach we'll be taking, and I think that as I said, I have confidence in the business community to adjust and to adapt to whatever comes down the line. I think we're in a good position. We're getting a lot of healthy statistics coming through. We've had some great recognition of Manx businesses recently. The Sunday Times Tech 100 for Plan.com. We've seen businesses like Equium go through new funding rounds and potentially growth in their international businesses. We've got full employment. We've had very healthy returns in terms of numbers in employment and, of course, the subsequent tax receipts. So we're in a healthy position. We'll be planning with absolute optimism. But at the end of the day, if things turn out in any negative scenario, then we will have to react. And, of course, it doesn't have to be once a year a budget is brought about.
I was just going to say, would you have an emergency budget if necessary?
If necessary in any of the circumstances, Brexit or anything else, and there was a need to adjust the way we were planning to use the Isle of Man's finances, to manage them responsibly, if needed, then we would do an interim budget.